Hello, this is Dave, and welcome to Equities Story. I'm with the Wolf. It is Monday morning, and Wolf, it still feels like we're on holidays. It's still quiet, the market. We're not really getting too much out of the market or by way of news. Um, so, yeah, I don't know. It still feels Australia doesn't really, for me, it's really after Australia Day, isn't it? We all go back to work.
Exactly right, Dave. I think there's probably a lot of those CEOs are probably still on holidays.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, it is kids' school holidays. After the year ends, late last year, it doesn't start up again till February. So a lot of families really have the time off. That's why we really have a quiet period in January, traditionally. So I'd say at least this week will be still very quiet because I haven't even seen any announcement to be come out for the quarterly. So yeah, we're just going to be waiting for some news from America to come through.
All right, and just before we start talking about shares, this is just obviously general share advice and not personal advice, as per the disclaimers. Now, Wolf.
Yes.
You made me very happy today.
Did I?
Yeah.
I always make you happy.
Because when you first joined me 5 years ago, because I know it's 5 years ago because we had your anniversary the other day, you got very upset with anything that was to do with gambling or guns or but looking at any stories that was sort of what lending, money lenders, all that, you go, David, and unfortunately for you, I sort of turned you into the dark side. You like charts, but also you're putting on gambling stocks, shooting stocks, and all the horrible companies that obviously some of these ones that are not really that good for us. But today, and so I've sort of ruined you. I turned you to the dark side, and that's so fine. But today I was really pleased because the first thing you said to me was PDI, right? And you said, Dave, this company's charting looking very, very good. But no one seems to care about the fact that they're possibly, going to put a mine near a very, very important sort of natural reserve in Guinea. And you know what, Wolf? Well done, mate. You're back.
Did I warm your heart? Did I with that comment this morning?
Well, it did, because it just showed me what a good person you are. Whereby, the whole world we spend looking at trying to make money and money and money, and yeah, I mean, you look at the story of PDI, and let's hope they don't do any damage to the natural reserves where obviously they're looking to mine, and but there's very little talk about it, and I like the fact you picked that up and noticed it, because it shows that there's still a little bit of goodness in you somewhere. I haven't totally destroyed you, Wolf. I haven't totally destroyed you.
Dave, in my look, I'm trying to be, but it doesn't always work that way, unfortunately. And it seems like we're picking on stocks, which I'm not trying to do so. But if I can avoid investing to some stuff that maybe does cross the line for me, then maybe I will try to stick away from it. Saying that, maybe I'm contradicting myself because I'm loving BHP at the moment, yet probably the environmental issues for BHP are probably not very good either, right? Saying that. So, but anyway, when you look at PDI's today's announcement and you have a look at the little conservation area where they are, and they're not that far away, and they have to speak to the Guinean government. It just I suppose for me it makes you question whether it's a probably stock I want to be in. But saying that, money obviously rules the world right now, so I'd say investors are probably going to still make money because the chart looks pretty good.
Brilliant, thanks, Wolf. But anyway, good to see that there's at least one analyst in the world that has a good heart left. Now, Wolf, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. So obviously we've got the new website, which I think everyone's liking. It's very different to the old one. But, you can click on the little code and you can look at the stock and you can read up a lot of information about the company as well, which is great. Now, there you go. The hot stock was BHP. The no-brainer.
Finally, I'm coming through with the good.
Wolf, but again, sort of the market is a little bit nervous at the moment, right? So we wanted to, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. So we wanted to really go for a bit of a large cap, And if you look at the markets and you look at the commodities, iron ore's holding it very well. Coal is strong. Copper's holding strong. It's ticking a lot of boxes across really for BHP to, hopefully give us 4 or 5%. That's all. At the end of the day, if we're trading, we're very happy with that. Okay.
Yeah. Plus, Dave. I mean, the question is it a good hedge against interest rate rises and inflation?
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth. So yeah, definitely.
So that could be another bonus here. That keep your BHPs and whatever you might have in this space as long as you can.
Wolf, why I'm just actually looking at BHP, I've had a few questions like, Dave, what do Equity Story regard as a micro cap and what do we regard as a small cap and a mid cap? So when you actually look at what we put here on all the stocks, generally speaking, and I think it's a great help, this, to be honest, Wolf, if people are trending, a micro cap is a stock which has really got a... generally speaking, is under 200 million market cap. A small cap is one which is over. There's a IMA which is over 200 million to 500 million. That is a small cap, 200 million to 500 million. A mid cap is 500 million to 2 billion. That is a mid cap, and the blue chips are over 2 billion. So for those people who are looking obviously at more conservative plays, maybe they'd look more at the large cap stories or the mid caps. So I think it's an excellent guide for a lot of people here, and understand obviously these micro caps low are generally speaking going to be a lot more volatile. So absolutely loving this whole system of the new Einstein's trends, how it's put out, and hopefully everyone is enjoying the new website.
I am. But then I'm going to have to say that. I am. It's good. I love it. It's so easy to navigate, Dave.
Well, I'll tell you what, Einstein's took for ages, because not only did I have to check every single market cap of every company I was actually doing my head in. But that's what we're here for. Now, Wolf, we had a few announcements today, and I'm going to talk about numero uno first, which is AV1, because we're following the company, we got it as a buy, had a little buy signal. And what do you think of the announcement? Very positive, exactly what we're sort of expecting. They're just going to keep on doing it.
Yeah, well, look, we're building Rome here, but we're not going to build a Rome overnight, right? So it's going to take, we've said it before, it's going to take some time. It's got, remember they're coming off a low base. So while they're growing fairly rapidly, it's going to take a number of quarters before we get to that magical 10 million revenue guidance, right?
Was a 10 million where you think Dubber really started, the market woke up?
I think so, when they started to see it in a little bit different light, right? Where you've got, plus the growth, right? It's got to be that, I don't know, double-digit possible revenue side of things, but also growth. So one hopes. I mean, if you look at what's happening right now with AV1, they're growing 80% this quarter. They might change, from quarter to quarter, it might be stronger, a bit weaker, but generally speaking, over a year, if they can get close to about 80% to maybe 100% growth, I'm expecting then it's going to probably take a couple of years to get to that 10 mil, I'd say, right? So I'm saying we're probably going to know more, way more by the end of the year. So I think we'll have to give it that 4 quarters and see where they are. Whether what's Mr. Radius told us will come through, right? So we talked about the strong growth. We talked about that it's going to hopefully head towards the 10 million bucks. So fingers crossed. We're in this for a journey. We're not here to make a quick buck overnight. And that's what we just got to remember with this. Low base, it takes time.
Well, I like AV1. Obviously, we like the story and we see the potential there, because I think the sort of the potential to upscale the sort of intellectual property is huge, right? But
every company advertises online. So really, why wouldn't you be using the services? Correct?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it could be huge, and it's like, I think maybe one of the easiest things you could sell.
Exactly.
So I go to CV1, right?
Yep.
And I look at this, and this is why we need to see if they have any debt or whatever. But I think they've got 12 million in cash in the bank. The market cap's the same, but which is interesting. So the market cap's the same as AV1. Again, they had a decent jump in revenue, which was excellent. So they got 12.2 million cash in the bank, and their half-year revenue was 12.8. Now I don't know if that's how recurring that is. If that works out to around 25 million, but they're trading on sort of 2 times revenue with growth. On those metrics, Wolf, it's looking cheap. CV1. What's the issue with this story? Do you think? Why is the market not embracing it? Is it maybe tech sector? We know it's a bit tough at the moment.
It's a very good question, which probably any answers I'm going to give you are not going to be satisfactory because it should be higher than it is, right? That's the problem. I think the numbers they give us surely would get the market to at least get it closer to that XF1, which have been doing very, very well chart wise. So, you look at both of the companies and they are very different, yet in the same space, yet growing fairly strongly. But the prices don't reflect it, which is really strange. So really, I can't give you a good answer for you to go, well, that's it. Because it's just the market is the way it looks at things are maybe a little bit different. So what we should do, just wait for that quarterly to come through. I'm going to have a bit more of a in-depth look into this and see if I can pick out anything that potentially says that's why it's not going up as strongly as CV1, XF1. But at this stage, I can't. I just cannot give you an answer. I just don't know why it's not doing better than it is.
And listen, it's not quite trending yet. So if you could get over 16 cents, suddenly maybe the market's woken up to it. So let's watch this one really carefully. We've got reporting season. I think everyone's sort of going to be coming out with some news towards the end of the month.
Yep.
Let's have a look at it and see where it is, Wolf, because it could be an interesting little buy for this year.
Yeah, it could be one that's flying under the radar. That if we get on at the right time, we could be making some money on this.
Definitely. Wolf, SNZ came out with an announcement. I like this story. I actually put on Einstein's. I like the price action. One would think this could go back at least and retest that $14.
You love Kiwis, don't you? Just anything that's New Zealand, you just go buy.
Well, XRO.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
SKO.
DOU's another one. So they're bringing in the dough. But the chart looks awful, but it's a very low base. I get you. Is this a potentially? Do you think this could be something, Wolf?
Way too early to tell, Dave. There's a dime a dozen of these sort of companies, and really they should not be listed. They should be unlisted and develop their own product, being an unlisted company, and then come back and list when they've actually got a product, because they're still in development phase. It just makes no sense how they can actually be listed and developing at the same time. So that's why the market sort of, at the moment saying, really everything's low base. Yeah, they're growing, but you can grow off zero and get to somewhere, but can you get those to those really big numbers where actually they are meaningful? So at the moment, really, I think it's not very meaningful at all. I mean, when you look at the revenues, it's tiny.
Definitely. Wolf, I was having a look, obviously, the commodities, and like you said, it's possibly an inflation play as well. And, it's a lot of the sort of commodities that we like, and this is why we put, obviously, BHP on as a hot stock. Copper's doing well. Iron ore holding up. You can see that the lithium stocks again should have a nice week, up again another sort of 3%. But there was one, we can see bitumen again. So for the month up 16%, and again up another 2%. Let's have a look at that bitumen chart and see what's going.
I didn't even know that there's like a commodity, bitumen. Just it was like road base.
Well,
you learn something every day, eh?
You do. So let's have a look on this on a monthly and see what this chart's done. I see it's been fairly really stable for the last few years, but it has had a nice little move up, hasn't it, over the last?
Right. Is there possibly a risk there? If it goes through the roof, you're going to see at night people stripping the roads of bitumen and then selling it on the black market.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. But Well, in Queensland you would, wouldn't you? That's a
You're going to go on your front and go, where's my road gone? I've got nothing left.
Anyway. Those who like the Bitterman story, we did look.
Yeah.
There is GRV, which is and it doesn't look too bad. It's bouncing up, but maybe you want to see a little bit better price action before you got too excited. But it doesn't. It's held trend, had a massive move up. Bitterman's had a run. You could see this maybe going back up at least to that sort of 40 cents level. Now, Wolf, apart from that, was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I just want to mention one stock that I already talked about last week, but I want to mention it again because I think there's an event coming up which potentially could see it have a good run, right? And that's SWM. If you look at the charts, and remember, we've got the Winter Olympics coming up next month, right? So it's nicely poised. Remember, it's cheap. When you look at the numbers, it looks fairly cheap. They had that Prime acquisition as well, which will add significantly to their portfolio. So for me, that one is probably the standout at the moment, where if I'm looking at a story that's not in tech, that's, the old sort of more school industrial, but still growing. It's in a sweet spot at the moment, which I probably would call it in a sweet spot. I'd be looking at something like this for the next month or so as a possible trade.
Brilliant. And are they giving a dividend at the moment, SWM, Wolf?
Oh, that's a good question. God, you love to throw some curlies at me, don't you? Let me have a quick look. SWM, have they put out a dividend lately? And the answer to that question is... Come on. I can't see one.
Okay.
So no. But look, the thing is, this is the beauty. It doesn't have one, but they might surprise on the upside and give you one if they come up with a positive bottom line. So right. I'm not going to say buy it for the dividend. No, it is going to be a bonus if you get one. Buy it for the story. You've got the Olympics coming up, the Winter Olympics coming up. They've done quite well with the Ashes, I think. They had a good period. They've now taken over also the number one position as their number one network as well. The advertising's coming back. So I think they are just in a sweet spot. Next 6 months, possibly this could go quite well.
Brilliant. Wolf, just one other stock we had on Einstein that I like the chart. SNZ, they're in a similar space to LIC.
Mm-hmm.
The chart looks very, very good. So for those chartists out there looking for a good story, I think this one most probably well worth having a look at. Buy around this sort of 1308, target 14. You got a nice little stop loss just under that 1250.
Yeah, the retirement space at the moment is flying, isn't it? So absolutely be looking at this.
All right. So a few ideas there from the Equity Story team. And Wolf, have a good day. And hopefully we're going to have a little bit more action on the market tomorrow.
Okay. Cheers.
See you, Wolfie. Take care, mate. Bye-bye.